So I would say, for example, I'll say var, I create a variable which is a mutable type. So I'll say var x is equal to 5. Okay, so now you have x is equal to 5. And I'll say val yes is equal to, and I'll assign this expression if, okay, if x is greater than 0, okay, and I'll use this operator, and I'll say x is less than 6, okay. So you return 1, okay, else return 0, right? So this is how I use if and else. So it is very similar to that of Java. So what happens? So you can see here now, since it is less than 5, it is assigning the true value. So the first would be the return value of this if expression. Okay, if the condition that it is evaluating into results into a true condition, then it would return the first variable. Now else it would return the second variable, the second value. Okay, so I will say val s is equal to, I will say if x is equal to, if x is greater than 0 and less than 6, okay. Now here observe another interesting thing. Now if I say something like this, let me give it this way. Okay, so else I will say return 0. So let's execute this and see what happens. Okay, there is an error. That is because of I didn't see this. Yeah. Okay. Now the data type of this variable yes, it shows here as any, right? Now see, the way you should understand this is, when you have the same data type, okay, for both the conditions, okay, it will get you the same data type here. So what is the resultant data type? It's going to attach to the this variable yes here. Okay. Now when you have different data types, okay, so you always have the super type of both the data types. Okay. Now observe here, unlike Java, so Java data types are basically primitives. Okay, they are not objects. Okay, and I mentioned that Scala is a pure object-oriented programming languages. So we do not have equivalent of Java primitives here. So the integer and the string and all those data types that you have are all internally represented as objects only. Okay, so when you have in this case where you have for different conditions you are returning different data types, what is happening is for the for the resultant variable, the compiler will attach the super type of the both the data types that you have. Okay, so there is a hierarchy of data types. Okay, so where, like for example, if there is nothing in common between the numeric types and the string types, then the super type or the base type for all of the data types is any. Okay, so any is the data type or the super class of all the data types. Okay, so derived from any, you have other data types. So one branch of such hierarchy is the string data types, and the other branch is all your numeric data types like int, float, double, and so on. Right? Say for example, instead of string, if I make it something like this, if I had created something like 1.0, return 1.0, else you return 0. Okay. Now observe what happens. So now it is showing me that S is of type double and its value is 1.0. So the super type between an integer and a double is basically a double. Okay. Whereas the super type between an integer and a string is a any, because these are two different branches of this hierarchy of data types. So when you have a mixed expression, you basically get the super type of both the branches attached to the to the variable. Is any the parent of all data types? Absolutely. So any is basically the parent of all the data types. So if you don't have anything common in that hierarchy, so you will basically get a any.